let me ask you, Commissioner Giuliani, part of this deal, too, was paying off, essentially, with $2.5 million of taxpayer money, the Cordish companies, which has the rights on that land. You put all the dollars together. Is it worth going through the machinations to get Zappos to move into City Hall that they've done, to put the taxpayers at risk on being in second position on the loan, to have them pay 2.5? Because that's what downtown redevelopment is all about. How far do you go to attract the businesses? It's a very difficult question sometimes.
It is a difficult question, but the threshold should always be it's the public's dollars. And therefore, did the city rush into haste and make a deal that maybe they could have gotten a better deal for the public for? And I think that question still is out in the air.
You're not sure on that one?
I'm not sure on that one because, very truthfully, there are other incentives that help a business. And I don't know what those negotiations were, but we should never give away public property to a private sector. And in fact, if you remember when the city of Las Vegas did the Carol Pappas property, that was my constituent, and I wrote the legislation to prevent the cities from there on out in redevelopment to be able to take private person's property to give to another private person. This, you have to be very careful as you look at incentives for businesses. There's ways. They have the tax increment financing that they could do. They don't have the right to do tax credits unless the legislature gives them that authority. What they can do, though, is you look at the streamlining of the time. Time is money for a business. I think that there should be more scrutiny. I've seen in the county that we've done contracts, such as the Walters contract, that were not properly done. There was no benefit to the taxpayer and the public, and that's always got to be the threshold question.
All right, let me ask you, first let's go to Councilman Ross, actually, because she's talking about you with the tax credit. She's basically saying you can't do that.
But this is exactly the kind of thing I'm talking about when it comes to giving those tax credits and incentives to drive businesses and to hire employees. I said this to you on the show I was on previously with you several weeks ago. No one was looking for a 30-year-old office building to buy. They're not moving on the market right now. So this is the kind of incentive that we need to do to create jobs.
So give them anything they want. Give them anything they want. Doesn't matter what the ultimate impact is.
Everything they want.
Roll over.
You've got to protect the taxpayer. You've got to protect those taxpayer dollars. But at the same time, you've got to give business and industry the opportunity to want to come here. That's the whole idea. Zappos took advantage of that. They're moving downtown.
Maybe they took advantage of you.
They're going to call their friends in the high-tech industries and bring them to downtown as well. That entire face of downtown is changing.
I'm going to ask Carol, when we come back, I'm going to ask you to defend this deal that your husband made.
Fine.
I would guess she's going to defend it. Or maybe, come back, stay tuned. Maybe Carolyn Goodman will finally disagree with Oscar Goodman right here on Face to Face. Stick around.
Jon Ralston wants to hear from you. Call 702-633-8748. Send an email to Jon at ralstonfacetoface.com. Edition of Face to Face with Jon Ralston, the Las Vegas mayoral debate.
Welcome back to our mayor's debate. Early voting is just a week away, and the primary election in April is going to determine whether one person gets 50% plus one and becomes mayor, or if two of the candidates who are here tonight, the top five are here, will make it through. Who will it be? We're trying to determine who the best candidate is right here. All right, Carolyn Goodman, I mentioned the details of this deal. Again, I'll say it. This is the difficult question about downtown redevelopment. And do you think that sometimes maybe your husband went a little bit too far in saying, well, give away the stores, just please, please come to my downtown?
He's only one vote, and so that couldn't have happened without the consensus and a total agreement of the city council. But I do know that Zappos was looking to go elsewhere. That's 1,000 people coming into the downtown.
Tony Hsieh says he was not looking to go leave the state. He said that publicly a couple times. They were not thinking of leaving the state.
And then why were they not? Why didn't they stay put? That doesn't make sense. The word that I had heard...
Because your husband and the city council made him an offer that they couldn't refuse. Look what we're going to do for you.
Yes, isn't that lovely? But it was a consensus of the... I would imagine it was unanimous as well.
And no one ever votes against Oscar Goodman, do they?
I hope not.
Yeah, exactly.
Because look what he's done. Can you imagine this city without what's happened downtown in redevelopment over these past 12 years, with that rotten brownfield and with no business and more doors closed, no invigoration down there? It is so exciting downtown. There's so much youth, there's so much energy, culture and medicine, and hopefully this arena, the entertainment and sports. And I mean, I was not involved in the deal. As Chris has just said, she doesn't know the background and the intricacies. I would have to turn to my partner over here because he would know more of the details.
He's your partner? Wait a second.
Well, he's sitting here. We're
But let me ask you a serious
We're
question.
fine.
Let me ask you a serious question before we move on to another issue. And that is it's kind of the elephant in the room. You are a leader your entire career here of the Meadows School. You were known as a leader. However, there's a lot of people who think now that this is the reason you're running is to follow your husband. You've said you want to follow his vision, but really this is a way to circumvent term limits. And it's the family Goodman's going to be in there. Mr. Chaltiel's nodding. That's what he thinks it is. You have to address that question. You say, no one else could follow my husband's vision, yet I'm my own person. To me, that sounds like a contradiction.
Well, and you do know us somewhat. Certainly, Mr. Chaltiel does not know either of us intimately at all. We've not even had so much as a cup of coffee together. Oscar has created something. Our core values are identical. How we operate and what we do is definitely very different, each of us with a different approach. But I do believe what has been started down there with that focus, with Cordage, with all the expansion of the Cleveland Clinic and all the base things that have been created down there. And the people, when you talk to them, they want to continue. They don't want to see another direction going. They want to see this
Why
continue.
are you the only one who can do that? Just because you have the same last name?
No. Because I know how people, when you have a business and somebody takes it over, or you have an entity and somebody new comes in, rightly so, they want to do it in their image and create something in theirs. And if you look back through the different mayors, different types of approaches have been had. I believe if he had not been mayor for 12 years, I guarantee you I would not be running. I believe in what he did. I think we are in big trouble as far as jobs, and I see things that have happened over these past 12 years.
Why were you nodding so intently when I asked that question?
Because it is self-evident. I mean, that this is the issue. I think we need change. I think Las Vegas voters, after 12 years, it is time for a change. I don't think at a time we have 15% unemployment and 23% with underemployment and all businesses down, foreclosures, etc., that having a mayor, or his wife, celebrating Las Vegas with a glass of gin, I was saying kiddingly that gin is out. Gin is out with the new mayor. Good. So gin is out, definitely.
You wanted to jump in, Commissioner? Go ahead.
Well, just to make sure I got it.
Is gin in with you or not? Never mind. Go on.
The whole downtown redevelopment, I thought you asked a very pertinent question. One is
about time.
Transparency has to dictate everything that goes on down at City Hall. And I would take a real close look at Cordish because they did some things that I wasn't comfortable with without knowing what happened behind the scenes. But as far
what are
as
you referring to? You can't just say something like that. What are you referring to?
Well, we almost had to buy them out of their first right of refusal and put them over onto the 61 acres. So it could be legitimate. I'd like to take a look at that. But bringing down Tony Hsieh and Zappos, I think that risk is worth taking. And here's why. Not only is he bringing his 1,000 techies down, but he also has first right of refusal on a 12-acre parcel right across from City Hall. And if there's anybody you want to create his third billion-dollar company, it's Tony Hsieh, downtown Las Vegas.
Right.
That's worth the risk.
I'm going to get you that, but I want to ask you a question here, and this, again, is something people have talked about for years. All this energy downtown, until the economy tanked, there was all kinds of things going on, maybe good, maybe great. People had their opinions. But Councilman Ross, there are a lot of people who think you've done that at the expense of redeveloping the west side of Las Vegas. That West Las Vegas has essentially been treated out of sight, out of mind. That nothing has happened over there. And there's a lot of African-American activists who think that F Street closure was symbolic. Get them out of the way. What about that?
And a lot of that population and demographic over there, John, are some of our highest unemployed. When we're talking about downtown redevelopment, granted, Mayor Goodman's done a phenomenal job. I've sat on the council with him for 6 years to keep pushing these things, so the momentum is happening. And it's all about job creation. It's all about business creation, and it's happening. But I want to focus, just as you said, we're missing the mark in regards to West Las Vegas, Charleston Heights, East Las Vegas. What we've started in the heart of our city needs to continue to grow, so we put those people back to work, so those businesses that want to locate here will do that.